start out with a decent unbox, a little white slip of paper, some kind of information about shipping on it. Kind of a standard box for these guys. Yippee-ki-yay on it. The Silent Scout. More information. Bell, the manufacturer, OH-58. Kiowa, Silent Scout, 2.4, just some other info. You can pause that if you need info on that. Before I go to put this on the table, it's a surreal moment for me. I started out roughly about a year ago on YouTube, just because I was watching videos, and I felt like the people doing the videos weren't covering some details that I wanted to see. And I would fast forward, rewind the videos tons of times, trying to zoom in, trying to see stuff. They'd be, let me hold up 1 second. Let me grab a radio. They'd be showing you something and the radio would be like this. Like, yeah, you do this. How can you see that? So I wanted like that. I wanted to see the radio. So I started making videos once I learned, and the stuff I was trying to do, I was brand new to the RC airplane stuff. I had been doing cars and boats my whole life. And I did planes 10 years ago, got a Zaggy wing, got a Zero somebody gave me, like a GWS Zero, and maybe one other little plane, like the Skyfly. Never had any success with the Skyfly, but the Zaggy wing, it was brushed, and it had NiCad batteries, and it flew. And I never really even crashed it. That's the funny part. But the stress of flying it kind of deterred me, and I kind of left the hobby alone for a good 10-year hiatus. Then I made my way back in, and I found out about this safe thing, and that kind of got me. Like, I got a bunch of birds now because safe mode is expensive to put in a bird. So most birds I don't put it in because the cost. I don't have that much to have 50 birds with 50, $100 receivers in it. So I'll fly a lot of birds without it, but I like to have it. So anyway, I'm back. I see the niche. I see the things that people are missing, and I think I wanted to cover it. And I'm like, I got so aggravated at some points, I just started making footage. And I never did anything with it for roughly a year. So I had a full, whole bunch of stuff packed up that I wanted to talk about, and I just, was gonna do it. You know how that is. And I never got around to it. So then finally I did, and then I started getting a lot of comments and stuff. And sometimes I got beat up on the comments. Hey, that's fine. I am not claiming to be an expert. I am not one of these guys, and I've said a bunch of times I don't get free stuff. Well, guys, my first item that I have received to review, the OH-58. I did the Huey, and now I'm gonna take a look at this bad boy. Both of these Bell birds, in my opinion, are kind of at the same plateau. And I think like the Cobra might be the bad boy of the bunch. I worked on the Cobra and Huey because Marine Corps squadrons tend to have Cobras and Hueys together. That's just the way that squadrons are structured. And most of the people, we don't even like supporting the Hueys at certain times. When you need a ride, of course, you want to support the Huey. You can't exactly ride in a Cobra too much. I've ridden in one, but it's not something that everybody gets a chance to do. It's only a 2-seater, obviously, but it's a bad boy. So I have reached out, and hopefully we can get a Cobra made, and that would be phenomenal. I think I would fly that thing every day, but just a nostalgia, just a mean look at that thing hovering around. Enough rant on that. We're talking about the OH-58. This is my first item that I have received to review for free. Everything else you guys have seen to this point, to this day, has been paid for by me or borrowed from a person in some way, shape, or form, but nonetheless not given to me by a manufacturer to test out and give my honest opinion. And I know you guys feel like this might ruin the content that I give you in certain ways because I was honest. So when they contacted me, they asked for me to test the bird. They didn't, you know, they said they like honest, unbiased reviews, and that's all I'm gonna give. I am not going to do like some others do. I'm not gonna say any names or whatever. You guys know, you watch the videos. I'm not gonna say you should buy this, you should buy this, you should buy that. I'm gonna tell you about the item. I'm gonna show you the details of the item, which is what you want to see. When you're thinking about buying one, you don't want to have somebody say, "Oh yeah, this is great, you should buy it." You just want to see what the item does, see how it works, see the intricate details that you can see that you can't see until you get it in your hand. I want to try to show you those close-ups, and then at that point, I'll give you my overall if I would buy. So like the Huey, it's cool. Of course, you know, I did buy, so no big deal. But this one here, I'll give you my what's what. It's probably something that I wouldn't buy because, like I said, if I had this or the choice of the Huey, I would go for the Huey because it was something that's near and dear to my heart. Not like a Cobra, but you know, somewhat closer. These are more Army style birds, so I did tend to not really know much about them, but I have seen them and I could tell you what they are. These birds ended up having cradles mounted just like the Hueys did, and they would put rocket pods and gun stations on both sides of it, and it would turn into a bad little boy. What I do know about these, they were way better than Hueys because they were lighter, they were niftier, but they couldn't carry anybody. You know, like they didn't have as much capacity as the Huey, or maybe they do. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm looking at this cabin. It's got the same little door, so perhaps it carried as much as a Huey. We would put, you could put about, I can't remember how many people, but there's quite a few people could fit in there. You got to have a door gunner and a crew chief in there already, so it takes away from the capacity of a Huey. And I'm sure this will be the same thing because somebody's got to run the gun unless you do a fix forward, and then the pilot or the co-pilot would fire the gun and the other person would fly. So anyway, this thing was perfect for spooks. We call them spooks. The special forces guys, we come, you know, the uniformed guys would all be, you know, shaven, haircuts. The spooks would come out with long hair, super beards, scruffy looking, anything they want to put on, you know, and they'd fly on these puppies, and they'd be hanging off the side, you know, guns a-blazing. So that's kind of like the mission of these. They were more quiet than other birds, as far as I remember hearing one fly. It was like way more quiet, way more machine-y sounding, if that makes sense to a word. And but quite silent. That's why they call it the Silent Scout. That's why. Maybe so. I don't know. If anybody knows the details on that nickname, go ahead and pop it in the comments so people can be informed. But I do recall these things being a little bit more quiet. They're more like a commercial bird that they just outfitted with some rocket pods and stuff. This one, as I can see through the plastic already, doesn't have any rocket pods or guns, which I've talked to them about. Carmanon, please put some detailed looking stuff on the birds because we want it. People want to see the little door gunner, maybe not the guy, but just the rocket pods with the guns hanging off of there. That definitely adds some effect. But we're gonna take a look at this thing up close, and we're gonna put it in the air. All right, so you open the box, you get a manual. I suspect I don't really need to do too much in looking into this one because I've already did it all with the Huey and they look to be identical, but that's it. Nice little picture of the Scout on it. Same kind of way, you got a spare blade, you got a spare tail rotor, and you got a charge cable and a small screwdriver to manipulate things. You got this plastic, you got these two big gimbal protector devices. Get those off. You got nice, almost hobby grade. Yeah, you got hobby grade feel to the sticks, except for the fact that this one centers. Yeah, same lock and unlock switch. Same other buttons. Same cross swords. As a matter of fact, that's the same exact thing. You got two batteries. All right, that battery's got a decent amount of juice out the box. I suspect the Huey's batteries are identical. And of course, your placard, always appreciated little skill details like that. All right, you got your blades. They have a notch on them. The spare one does also. You got an antenna, you know. This is cool. You got a brushless sticking out the side. I didn't recall that being like that on the Huey. We got to take a look. Same kind of setup, motor excess at the bottom a little bit. Nice panel lines. No opening door. I do see a line right here that kind of goes around, but of course that's not anything that you would use to manipulate it. There's some small screws in it, if you can see them. And that's just how you take this apart if you need to access anything to get to the motor or the swash plate, any of the intricates. All right, let me pull a Huey. There's your Huey. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Napalm. I keep it. I'm that guy. I keep it exactly the way exactly the way it came, except for the blades. I put the blades underneath the plastic. And yeah, the motor's sticking out the side the same way. So, in a similar way, they are about the same size. So, if in case you got one, you want to see them up to each other size-wise. It looks cool though. This looks very cool. And you can see this little thing here on the skids. That's like where the cradle mounts to. On the Huey, they actually have the places where it mounts to. There's two little holes right there. Looks like where the cradle would mount. They're open too. There's open holes there. So I really think I might be able to get. I have to ask them that if I can get some cradles, or if the other folks, other name brands that make this. I like the doors being open. It just gives you that extra, because most of the time Hueys are flying with the doors open. The door opens a little bit wider than this though, but you know, hey, whatever. All right, that's enough looking at the Huey because we're not here to see him. That's everything on taking out the box. That's all the details that you might want to see on it without firing it up. So I'm gonna see if the Huey's battery fits. It's a little snug. So maybe it's not interchangeable. Nope, this one's snug too. All right, so you kind of get it in there. Same as the Huey, you push the two tabs, and it doesn't slide in like the Huey's does, actually. I remember the first time I dealt with the Huey, I thought it was a little bit fiddly to get the battery in also. So let me stop using the battery for the Huey and use the battery that's supposed to go in here. Now there's a wire right there. That's not the coolest place, because when this slides in, that's gonna hit that every time. So I'm gonna see if I can't fold that out of the way. Maybe I'll do something off camera to kind of completely get that out of the way. All right, this went in fine. Let me try one more time with the Huey's battery, because they look identical. I think it's just the luck of the draw of getting it in there. Put the front in, kind of, yeah. I don't see any differences. Either way, it came with two batteries. Why would that be a concern? I don't know. People just get obsessed with whatever they get obsessed with, right? All right, that went straight in and it's flush. I'm gonna push the two tabs. I'm gonna lock the tabs back. Make sure you lock the tabs back, because it's not really locked. It'll probably fall out of there. I haven't had it happen, but I've noticed that on the Huey. If you don't push those tabs back out to lock, it probably won't stay. I'm gonna get this out the way. Let's see another test. If I take this radio from the Huey and I power it on, will it work? It's flashing. All right. I can't remember if it was power on the radio first or the bird first. So I'm gonna go ahead and, in this case, the bird's finished doing what it does. Power the radio on. All right, nothing. So it is paired to the remote that comes with it. Let me get the batteries put in it. All right, I got it powered on. and connect it right on up. So of course this one I didn't mention has the little holes in the back, so you can kind of make a manipulation if you want to change from the tension of the sticks or whatever adjustment there is. I find these to be in you know, pretty good the way they are. And your swash plate movement is pretty cool the way it is. So forward and back, left, right. And then when you're you know, adding pitch, all very cool. Against all odds, I've flown the Huey is so stable that I'll feel comfortable. I got a bird sitting right there, so I don't want to mess with that, but I'm gonna see if I can maybe spin the rotors. I'm a little scared, so I better not. I'm gonna go ahead and do that at the field and let you guys get a good look at this thing in the air, get some beautiful pics. Try to get it flipped over, of course, and get some beautiful pics of that and video of that. One last look before I sign off. The next time you'll see me will be at the field. One last thing I wanted to mention, this thing's got a very cool kind of front spotlight. And this tail marker is actually very noticeable and cool also. The same kind of green light in the back that kind of gives you a status of what's going on with the radio. I think, let me see, yeah. When you do the ground motion thing, it turns red. So a little green light on the inside of the cockpit also, you can see that. And of course a marker light at the bottom in red. Very noticeable, not as great on video as it is in person, but very cool. Just in case you do own the Huey and you want to know about flying the batteries, I couldn't get the seat. I'm gonna probably try again off camera, but the only real difference I see is this is kind of set. This is the one for this is the Huey over here. This is the Koi. There's a little bit difference on the way this is, this little external, and then the mount right here is slightly, nope, the mounts are the same, but then this little hook is different. You know, the Huey doesn't have that, and this little cutout right here is a little different, but the physical size of the batteries seem to be, oh, nope, look it. If I line them flat, you can see the Huey's battery actually is taller. Not by much, but it is taller. Let me see if I can get it straight so you can kind of get a better look at that. Yep, you see that size difference there? That's it. So the batteries are not interchangeable. All right, Poolie here. I got this beautiful OH-58. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you some looks in case I crash, what it looks like before you crash. Beautiful, untouched. Go ahead and take it up. All right, got the green light on the top. All my marker lights are on. I'm gonna turn that obstacle avoidance off. Turned red. All right, everything's working correctly. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the unlock button. All right, got collective movement. I'm gonna go ahead and just put this to high right here. You get a double beep for that. So then I might not be able to show you too well during the video, but this is that off and on of not obstacle avoidance, of the ground sensing. See if I can get them in the same frame. So you push it up, it's green. Down is red. So just like it says manual, push it down to red, up to green and it shows you sensing the ground.
That's what those little sensor lines are. When you want to go to manual, you go down. So long as you're in high, which is right, 2 beeps, and you switch it to manual, then you can do the flip over. Everything good. All right, I am unlocked. I started the rotors. And it started up pretty good, pretty predictable. It is drifting a little bit, but it's windier than it probably likes. That's what it looks like right in front of you. It's just very stable. Look at that. And I'm hands off, by the way. So I can definitely say that one thing I have gotten comfortable with is flying the Huey is these are very stable. I haven't touched the controls that entire time. So you can get into trouble perhaps, and as long as you don't have too much forward movement, you could just release the controls and kind of stop it where it is. So let's go ahead and get it up a little height. All right, so that's that ceiling. It's not super high either, and like I said, once you get it kind of going in one direction or the other, it's going in a hurry. So you got to kind of give it full stick to keep it anywhere beyond that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the sensor manual. All right, so now that allows me to go above. I need to go a little bit more forward. All right, so then I don't think it'll let me flip there. I don't know how you know when you're above the height limit for it to do the flip, but I'm gonna go ahead and hit it. Nothing, right? So I'm gonna get some altitude and probably have to adjust the camera to still not high enough. Yeah, I hate that part. Hard to video yourself doing it. Maybe I wasn't in too. All right, hold it down. All right, oh, and it. All right, oh, and it came completely down and crashed as soon as I hit it. All on film, hopefully. Let me go retrieve the aircraft and see what I got. It's all in one piece. It didn't hit very hard to say. It just kind of completely spun out. Once I gave it the flip, it just lost all composure. So, sheesh, I don't know. The battery is staying on, which is, I guess, let me hold it until it goes off. All right, it went off. Go ahead and plug the battery back in. That's definitely odd. That's not what the experience I had with the Huey, but you know, it could have been an error on my part. All right, that's locked in pretty good. I'm gonna turn the radio off and I'll meet you back at the pad. All right, I cut the radio on, cut the bird on, hold it down. All right, it's flashing, flashing, flashing at the back. Now it turned solid. Well, it flashed again and turned green. I'm going to go ahead and put it to 2. Put the ground sensor on, not obstacle avoidance, but the ground sensing circuitry. And I'm gonna hold the sticks. All right, I didn't have it unlocked, so unlock. Sticks both down and out, just like DJI. All right, try this again. All right, it took a hard hit. Nothing's broken. It's kind of wigging out a little bit right now, though. I don't know if you can see that all that great with the trees and stuff in the background. Sorry. All right, it's got a little more stable. All right, let's just fly this around a little bit before we go right into flipping it over. Yeah, because that would have sucked if it was broken and I didn't even get much flight of it, you know? But I could say this. You can't crash a helicopter under any normal circumstance, especially dropping straight out of the sky like that and expect it to ever fly again. Like these, when a helicopter crashes, it's usually catastrophic. There's no hopes left for you. Now something's weird going on there. Like I don't know if you kept seeing the attitude of me. You see that? It's kind of dip, dip, dip. So that's not the normal way it reacts. Let's turn off the, turn to manual mode. All right, that smoothed that out a little bit. So that was that circuitry perhaps sensing thing. So we're gonna turn that ground sensing off for the time being, because I don't really foresee us needing it. The position hole, because we're in a wide area. Yeah, that's cool looking. Look at that. A lot of times you'll see these OH-58s with that big ball on the top. Like it was like a, I haven't even looked it up. Somebody comment on it if you know. But it was just like more of like lasers and stuff like they have on the more advanced aircraft. And they just stuck it above the rotors, which to me was an odd choice. Don't hit the van. All right. So I would say, I don't know if you could even see it. There we go. I would say it flies pretty good with that ground sensing circuitry turned off. Let me get a little height so I can kind of do some other flight that's above the ground enough where you could see it without the grass kind of making its thing, because it's green and the grass behind it is green, so you can't really see much. I've picked up on that without even being able to see the video. I kind of picked up on that, so you could see, man, like look at that stable flight. Like that is so poised. You can make this thing look so scale and real that it's very enjoyable. Banks and turns very well. You can, give it some right as well as rudder, and it'll bank into a turn like that. Woo, look at that. A little bit of forward adds to that and makes it look really beautiful. Trying to stay from behind me as much as possible, but I keep on fishing that way. All right, so I am pretty impressed with that. That sucker looks cool. And get it back closer to us. All right, like I say, once it gets going, you can give it full stick back, but you ain't gonna get no movement from it for a good bit because it's cruising. I am very impressed at how fast it is. It's super fast. Both this and the Huey were both pretty fast to the point where I was pretty impressed. All right, I hate to do it, but let's go ahead and get it up. Let me hit this, I'm gonna hit the ground sensor and let it get to that height. All right, now I'm gonna break it, put it to manual. I'm gonna get it pretty high just to see if it, last time I tried this, it didn't even try to recover. It just kind of just dropped straight from the air. So I'm gonna probably do this one more time. If it doesn't break, hopefully, I'm gonna just quit any hopes of doing the flip over thing. So I'm gonna hold the stick. I got it to a good height. I guess you can see it. I'm gonna hold the stick to the right. Then I'm gonna give it right stick. All right, it flipped over. And I was probably covering it with the radio because I was still trying to do some controls. So let me bring it down to earth a little bit. I am so happy and ecstatic that it didn't crash that time. And I really feel like, I am the first person to admit that I am completely novice when it comes to this stuff. But I don't feel like that crash was on me because I didn't really do anything. I just flipped it over, and then as soon as I tried to give it any kind of input, it just came crashing down. So virtually the same maneuver that I just did for this, but this time it didn't crash. So that's a positive. Look at how cool that is, flying right in front of us. Now, it's not as stable upside down as it is right side up. Even with the ground sensing on and off and all of that, it's still definitely more stable on its right side up axis or attitude. But as you can see, I'm working the sticks quite a bit to keep it here, but it is staying right in front of us while it's upside down. Like how cool is that? Like I am so close right now, it's unreal. All right, one thing people always want to cut the grass. I don't think I'm gonna actually try to get that close, but I'm gonna see if I can get it to at least move some grass. Yeah, it's kind of hard to control, but know that if you're worried about flying like a real heli, your controls would be opposite of each other. Oh, and I crashed it. All right, I hurry up and hit the lock button to turn it off. Trying to cut the grass, I kind of, that was on me 100%. Shouldn't try to cut the grass. So, probably get most of that grass off of the rotors by taking off again. So I'm gonna go ahead and unlock, sticks out, and right on up. So she didn't really get hurt by it. I'm gonna put the ground sensing back on and let it sense the ground, go hands off. It's still drifting quite a bit, as you can see, hands off. Not me, but better than, you know, any other heli I've flown, to be honest with you. I haven't gotten any of the really fancy, expensive stuff, but I can tell you most of the hobby grade stuff can't really compete with this as far as the stability, as far as little helis, you know. I'm not talking about drone stuff, just speaking of the helis. You can't get this kind of stability hobby grade. I am just so stoked at how cool that is. Look at that. Look at that. And when I walk under it, it tries to move to get out of the way. So I'm down to 2 lines on the battery there. So I'm gonna just finish the rest of this flight and then wrap it up. I want to do one more flight, and I'm going to do that with the Huey. That should be real fun. Of course, I have to have a second person fly with me, but that should be pretty cool. I just went down into the low rates because I'm like a strong believer in flying in mostly everything in high rates, but go ahead and check this out for scale purposes. Yeah, flying in a lower rate makes it easier to fly scale. Look at that. One thing that's completely not scale is if you like release the controls, you see that bump. I'm trying to smooth that out because a lot of that bumping stuff, that's what it does automatically if you release sticks. So I'm trying to like really keep it more smooth like that. That is cool. All right, it's beeping, and the front light is beeping. I've never seen this before, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it over here, and I'm gonna try the see if I can do the landing thing and demonstrate that for you. I don't have the landing pad over there, but I'm gonna hit this this button here, and there it is, going down for a nice safe landing, and it shut down on its own. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get my satellites and take off with the Mini, and then see if I can catch some you know, good footage of it.
Home point updated.
All right, both sticks down and in.
Home point updated.
All right, I'm unlocked, got some collective going. Both sticks down and out. I believe that's the opposite of DJI. I said it earlier it's the same, but it's not, it's the opposite. So I'm going to try and fly this by myself while allowing the drone to see it. Let's see if that can happen. There we go. All right, have to edit most of that out, but go ahead and get some close enough flight to it. It's not really easy to slow this thing down, so I'm a little bit worried when I'm trying to fly close to the drone, because I don't want to knock the drone down or have an in-the-air collision of any sort. And while you're by yourself, you kind of got to take some risks sometime. So equipment only. Yeah, that's as close as I'm gonna get. I don't know if I'm on frame, but I'm scared to get any closer than that. All right, go to rate 2. Yeah, you wouldn't want to get this thing started with some momentum like a tree. I just kind of replied to somebody before I done this video, and he has one, and he was asking about the mode 2 thing, and I told him, you know, basically the explanation of that. Mode 2 is when people want to fly with different stick controls. So mode 1 is I guess more so done overseas, whereas mode 2 is more here in the States. We're kind of more on mode 2 here. So I don't know where he was, but when he replied, he was like, too late, I actually crashed it or whatever. So I'm like, oh man, that sucks. But the mode 2 button on here, or the mode button, there is a button that says mode, you know, manual right there, mode. It's next to flip over mode. I don't think that really refers to mode 1 and mode 2, but I couldn't really gather. I don't remember what the directions said. I did read the whole thing, so please nobody tell me. One guy came on and said read the directions, and another guy came on, read the directions, and I said, listen, I read the directions. I even held them up on camera or during the video. The directions were read, but they were just kind of not very understandable as far as flipping it over. But now I know that you need to have speed 2 turned on. Rate 2 as far as your rates, you do rate, and then you need to hold it down. That is the big kicker. So let me go ahead and see if I can't get any of this video on the drone, maybe upside down. That would be cool. Woo! Yeah, it did another weird kind of, I don't know if I got that because I'm not exactly looking at it. I'm flying it, so not exactly looking at it to see how that looked. But there we go. That should be on the drone footage upside down. And it's drifting quite a bit because when it's upside down, it's like all bets off as far as it being stable. Yeah, I'm getting something, but it's probably not the best footage, but here we go. I'm upside down. That's what's important. All right. I am going to attempt to turn right side up. All right, get a decent height, hold the stick right. And it kind of sprung right back up a good bit after it did it. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and get this in. That is 2 full batteries roughly, with mixtures of looks at this thing. And I could say I didn't think I was gonna like the Huey as much as I liked it, and I'm gonna have to say the same thing about this. Like, it is just so cool. It's drifting quite a bit, so I'm going to turn that ground. Look at that. I turned that button on, didn't touch any stick movement, and it kind of just settled right down. That is so cool. So when you turn it into manual mode, it's gonna drift. You know, it is what it is on that. All right, I showed you to land with the little button. Now I'm gonna land it manually. And I gotta give stick movement as well as down to key and kind of get it to stay where it's at because it's drifting. All right, I hit the lock button once I got it on the ground, which is kind of like a helicopter guy thingy. Get the drone down right fast. Look how cool that is, folks. It's actually tipping. Yeah, look, that skid is actually off the ground. But seeing one of these spinning is more like true to life. Helicopters spin on the ground a lot. It's actually tipping a little bit too much. I'm getting scared, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this, abort this part, and it's a good look at it. There we go. It's actually spinning slower now. And it stopped. Yeah, weird. There we go. I don't know why the first time I was, yep, and it took off by itself. I gave it just a little bit of input and it kind of spooled up and then started coming down. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get it down for you to get a good look at it, a good close landing. So yeah, I was trying to pop back up. I went ahead and hit the cutoff switch. I'm doing all this with one hand, by the way. So that's it. Beautiful, fun, cool on so many levels.